So that's James's fancy breakfast this morning. I'll talk about it a little bit. I'm just having a liquid lunch, and we're going to be talking about these videos.
Hobbs and Shaw. Oh man, you've got them lined up like a line for identification in a police department. There are some pretty good ones here, but this one, Hobbs and Shaw, well, it actually wasn't that bad.
You know, there was the first while in that movie, I kept, every time I'd see a real actor, I'd go, oh, how did this poor person get roped into this? They must have paid them a lot of money. And then I'd see actor after actor, and I'm like, oh
real
dear, you know.
Not The Rock.
No.
And not, well, Statham, or whatever you pronounce his name. Yeah.
Oh, he's so bad.
Yeah.
You like him?
Oh, he's awful.
Okay.
I basically got him. I have him on no watch list, except the stuff is so hokey. It's almost hilarious.
Well, it makes the blockbusters, so we watch every blockbuster. And honestly, the blockbusters usually are the worst of the movies that we watch. So James is having ginger with turmeric right now.
Right now, yeah.
And my turmeric, I should drink it, is in here. So once James is done stirring, I should stir mine again.
Okay.
It's kind of settled. Ugh.
Oh, I'm not shivering from the cold.
So I'll just set that there.
Oh man, that I better take care of the cancer. Not to be a huge disappointment. Oh man.
And to absorb the turmeric, I need to have black pepper and some fat. So my fat it's not Marmite. This is just a container that I use to pack out the omega-3 in. So I'm taking omega-3 with mine. James has that option, but he doesn't have to. He already has some fat. The pumpkin fries that I made, I did not cook them with fat. I didn't cook them with oil, as the recipes says to put olive oil on them and then put them in the oven for 425. No. I don't want to heat olive oil to that temperature. So what I did is I cooked the fries and then I put the Parmesan on top afterwards. So he has fat in that. And then there's also, I drizzled cold press extra virgin olive oil on his fries once they were done. Once they were already on the plate. So that's, you know, it's not heated very much that way, right? And that's better. And you're saying, well, what about the black pepper? Well, that's in my chai. Remember I showed you how to make chai? And there's a fair amount of black pepper in chai.
That's amazing. Okay.
So if you'd like a sip of this, you could take your pepper this way. So this is carrot juice. Like, I have no problem drinking things like chai. This is wonderful. I didn't have to add any sweetener at all because carrot juice is plenty sweet enough.
It's pretty sweet. Got a tang to it.
This time I made it half and half with almond milk. Often I don't put the almond milk in there. I just have the carrot juice. It's fine with it just straight. And today I put some, vanilla extract. I don't always do that, but it makes a good chai too. So, and sometimes I'll put a little bit of cardamom in there, whatever, just change it up. But I didn't today. It's very standard kind of chai. And how James had his ginger with the turmeric, my ginger's in the chai. So I got the ginger and the black pepper in here, and this is a really nice way to take it. So, now what else about James's meal? You saw the rest of it. It's pretty standard. How are those fries?
I haven't started. I always eat eggs first, all of it.
Okay. Well, he'll tell you by the end of it. So, I
find them disgusting.
One thing I noticed about the French fries, which I wouldn't recommend making anyway, because my hands hurt trying to slice up that many French fries from pumpkin. Pumpkin's hard cutting, and I don't have a French fry cutter right now. I used to have a mandolin that did the job. That might have worked out for this too. So if you have one that does that, then that might work out too. But I have neither. So that was just done by me holding a knife, which I did not enjoy, and I will not do again.
You had to use a lot of force. I was afraid you were going to cut yourself. But you had a good sturdy board, fairly large.
Yes, and a good sturdy knife. If
But
you
I
don't
was
use
telling
it-
myself, if it slipped,
Yeah.
you basically had your femoral artery covered up. But
Oh yes.
I was getting ready to do first aid
No
and
worries.
rush you to the hospital. So if you cut a finger off or something.
But anyway, this Fast and Furious, whatever that's called, movie.
This one? Or?
Yeah, we'll start with that one. It's
Oh, it's
yeah.
called Hobbs and Shaw.
Shaw.
Fast and Furious. It must be a series. Or
Yeah.
something.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to these things.
No.
But I have to say, there were some good
Jokes.
action. There were some good jokes, and there was good action in the movie also.
I slept
So,
through the action sequences. I didn't see
whoever
one,
was
so-
doing the stunt work for the motorcycle stuff, wow, awesome.
Give him a raise. Or her a raise. Could have been
Whatever,
her.
don't
Yeah.
know, but pretty impressive. And even if that was enhanced with computers, impressive. And the scene with the trucks all joined up like train cars in that scene, that was very original. And not at all believable.
Yeah, of
it
course.
was so ridiculous. And in the end, you know, some of the parts, like when the Rock has big muscles, but when the chain slips on the hitch and or whatever, and he has to hold it with his arms. He's holding back a helicopter. Really. Like he's strong, but no, not that strong. So he's able to do more than, what was that? 6 trucks or 5 trucks in tow, like crazy. So there's that, and I mean there's some really ridiculous parts of this movie, but hey, people might enjoy that. I don't know. Now
Some might even take it semi-seriously.
I find it interesting that, like, The Rock refers to himself as a black man, and I'm like, he is so white. Like, I've always thought of him as white, but honestly, I think there's too much othering with people are identifying as one race or another, and it's like, wow, you know, I've never really thought of that. Like with myself, I think my skin's pretty dark. I have the blonde hair, people don't notice, and I live in Canada, so for the most part, not tanned. So it doesn't show up that well, but honestly, anyway, what am I gonna say? The Leveling, great movie. I really enjoyed it. Most people might look at it and think it's slow moving. Compared to, you can't compare these two movies at all. If you like this sort of movie, you will not like this sort of movie. It's the acting is low key. It's very subtle. It's realistic, and some people might be disturbed by it. There are some scenes where I don't want to give anything away too much, but there's a disturbing scene with a rabbit drowning, and this is farm sort of stuff. So if you're from a farming background or you actually are honest with yourself about how animals come to your table, then this shouldn't shock you at all. And if you're not, well, you need to wake up, honestly. So the one scene that did bother me was the scene of the wheelbarrow and the animal getting burnt, because it was just such a waste of meat, such a waste of life, you know. has to get used, or it's obscene. But anyway, I'd highly recommend that one. I didn't expect it to be a good movie, and it was powerful. So there's a lot of artistry with the calf being born and the brother that killed himself, and it's really powerful. So definitely worth watching if you have a brain. So Rigged, the voter suppression playbook, is that what it was called? I'd say it's worth watching. There's one thing interesting I find about people talking about voter suppression. One side will talk about the other side's voter suppression techniques, and the other side will talk about that side, the other side. You know, they talk about each other's, but they're both doing it. They're both doing it, both sides, and they don't want to, they only want their side to be able to vote in an unfair fashion, right? And it's kind of funny, but I think it's important that African Americans need to be able to vote. It's their country. They need to be able to vote for whoever they want to vote for. It's my sister always says it's not a person's right to vote, it's their duty to vote. She is, if somebody says they're not voting, she's angry about it. And my sister does not get angry very much. She's a very gentle person, but she thinks it's your duty. You have to vote. And if you don't vote, if you or if you vote for somebody that's not electable, then honestly you're part of the problem. You need to make sure you vote. So but on the same at the same time, you know, here one side complains about African Americans in the United States not being able to vote because there's the old white men, right-wing politicians are suppressing their vote or whatever, suppressing their right to vote. And then the white guys are saying, well, that was rude of me to say white guys. I'm just talking, I'm using that. I don't, there's a lot of old left-wing white men
Teaching
who are,
at universities.
sure.
No.
So, but anyway, but the people that they're talking about, then they'll complain about people voting more often. And I think there's a lot of right-wingers who are voting more often than they should be. I believe that there is voter fraud. I worry about that. I worry about people saying that they live at my house and they're voting and doing whatever. I remember now with healthcare, there was I just got a call from a fertility clinic, and I have an appointment, so we'll see how that goes. But they need my Alberta healthcare card and photo identification so that I can see them. And I think that that's an essential thing. When you go to the doctor, you should have to bring your photo ID, because I know that, now this was quite a long time ago, probably 20 years ago, a friend had her boyfriend, who was an American, visiting from the United States, and he had a cold and he needed to go get antibiotics, which I don't know that he needed to get antibiotics. I don't believe.
Cold.
I don't know what he had, but he felt
If
he
it
needed
was a
antibiotics.
cold, it's ridiculous.
I don't know what it
Antibiotics
was.
fight bacteria.
I don't know what he
Colds
had.
are caused by virus.
I don't know what he had, but he felt he needed, and he was here in Canada, and so he wanted my ex-boyfriend to give him his Alberta healthcare card for the day so he could go to the doctor as my boyfriend, saying that he was my boyfriend. And my boyfriend did not want to do it. He felt very uncomfortable with it, and I was like, it's wrong. Yeah, you shouldn't do it. Well, and the guy ended up going as my boyfriend because I guess he didn't feel that he could resist or whatever, giving him the card, and he did. And well, my boyfriend can't get or ex-boyfriend. I don't have a boyfriend, I have a husband. He can't get in trouble with that now because he's dead. So whatever. I can totally share that story because he's not going to get in trouble. And so I know that it happens. I know that people go to the doctor as other people because in Canada we get healthcare covered, such as it is. So you better believe they're voting as somebody else if they can get away with it. If they really want to vote 10 times, they're going to do it.
There should be photo ID.
There should be.
There should be.
So.
I mean, there should be drives out there to get everyone with photo ID.
Mm-hmm. And there's people. Yeah.
That's a message for the Democrats.
Exactly. You
get out there,
get it done.
roll up your sleeves.
Make sure people have their vote covered, their right to vote covered, and at the same time, if a whole bunch of people are coming into the country illegally and voting as other people, or they have babies in a country that so then their babies end up growing up and having a vote when they were not legally in here in the country to have babies here. Why do their babies have votes? If it doesn't even make sense. If they weren't citizens, then their babies aren't citizens. They shouldn't be citizens, right? Unless they apply for citizenship. But if this happens, then yes, there are more people that are illegally getting the right to vote, and they shouldn't have it, for a country that they really are not citizens of. They have never applied for citizenship. So that needs to change too. And so I can see both sides of the story. Yes, if you're a citizen, you should have the right, you have the duty to vote in your country. If it's not your country, no, you do not. So it's really, things have to be done. The system needs to be cleaned up. I see both sides of it. I understand. World War speed. Methamphetamines in World War II. Wow. Now it's short. It's only 60 minutes. It's a PBS thing. I almost always like the PBS stuff. It's only an hour long, and they edit well. So you get enough information in 1 hour that you can go, wow, I need to look into this more. That's all I really need from documentaries, is that's something interesting. I have to research that. I don't need them to research everything for me. So, but how did you feel about that, James?
I thought they did a pretty good job.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to look at the camera and see how much time I have to blab on. Not much. I'm going to pause it and go again.